Oh, hi everybody. This is just an excuse the earphones. Uh, I'm just doing this because I've been listening to music. So sorry about that. But this is just a shout out to the Sergeant Savinelli on his last question that he just presented at 10, 15 minutes ago, whatever it's been now. Uh, on his question of all these VRs and stuff that's been done, and he was talking about different things. He said, "Well, let's do one, not a VR for a GRA or anything like that. Just a shout out, just a question, just a little bit of family talking and getting into what vehicles that we have through life and through TV shows that we've liked." And I was excited to do this one because growing up through school in the era that I grew up, there was a lot of cars that I loved. Car fanatic. But back in my time, on the car side of it, it was, we could pick up cars for dirt cheap. Not like they are today. You got to spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars to get these older cars and fix them up and make something out of them. So with what he was asking for your own personal, what you would want in life as your favorite vehicle. And I say vehicle because he said you can use trucks, cars, tractors, whatever. It didn't matter. He said he would just like to know. So I made a real quick list. Now, these are some that influenced me, and I am going to throw one, maybe two in there, just honorable mention type cars, just because. And my first favorite vehicle that sticks out in my mind forever and ever is something that my dad bought years ago when I was a young kid just coming into my driving age, on a little dot in the road that we lived in. And we, like I said, we picked these cars and trucks up for almost nothing. I enjoyed them, loved them, and I wished I had a few of them back, but that's immaterial. Hindsight's 2020. But my first one was the '57 GMC pickup. I love that truck. We did a lot of work to it. We put a very large 400 large block General Motors engine into it because the engine that came in it was the Pontiac engine originally. And it was so worn out that every time you went to the gas station, you better check the oil to see how many quarts of oil you needed to put in it. That's how bad it burnt the rings and the valves, every valve seats, and that thing was just shot. So it just sucked oil just as much as it sucked gas. Little small V8 that they put in back way back in the day. So we fixed it up. It was mechanically sound. And then things got tight in the family. You know how that goes, and we had to sell it. But before we sold it, it was always in my dad's name title wise. Yes, it was given to me to use for a couple 2 or 3, 4 years, whatever, before he sold it on me, because we had to have the money, and that's what we had to sell to make the money. So I have to say that was my most favorite. I had the wraparound window in the back, the big massive bumper with the General Motors that they came out with the rubber bumper inserts in it for pushing things, and if you bumped up against something to protect yourself. That was my favorite truck. We custom did the interior in it with electric seats and all that stuff. It was just great. Fun to drive, hot rod. I mean, anybody in town that would want to run me usually thought they could outrun me, but they couldn't with that truck. I mean, that thing would go. I love that truck. So that's my not movie related vehicle or TV program, whatever the case may be. Now, I'm going to do a couple Chryslers and some General Motors products that I love. I mean, I don't care whose manufacturer it was. Anything after, or I should say before mid 70s, which I mean somewhere around 73 to 75. Then vehicles got back in the gas crunch era. Then things changed. But when you get back to anything older, I didn't care if it was whose manufacturer it was. They made a lot of great vehicles out there. But my own personal, and let's go to the programs that these were out of. I want to start out with Nass Bridges, his 71 Hemi Barracuda. That was an awesome vehicle. The main reason why, because my friend and I, my best friend ever, that go, like I said, go to hell and back for me. He had bought and we restored, and then he finally had it restored into the beautiful vehicle is today, and he still has it, a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda. Now, it was not the Cuda, it was the Barracuda. But he made it into a clone, and it's a great car today. It's a great show car and everything. But on the Nash Bridges show, that yellow 71 convertible Hemi Cuda is on the top of my list. I love that car. That thing was just awesome. And then we go to the Chrysler Imperial Crown, the Black Beauty out of the Green Hornet. I thought that was just a neat, awesome, and even back then when I was watching it, the original programming, where you watched it once a week or so, it was just uniquely, and though it was a four-door, big boat, but I just love how they customized it to make it for the program. I love that one. And the Green Hornet, I just love that. Now let's go to some people, this is going to age me, but not age me a little bit, say I'm a little bit younger, but a lot of reruns watching, and I did watch the originals too. But that was the 58 Chevy Corvette that Red Foreman out of that 70s show. That was another one I've always wanted Corvettes in particular. But when I was a younger kid wanting my Corvettes, I was a 63 split window Shark. I love that Stingray Shark. I love that car. But the one that Foreman had was a great, beautiful car that they used for the program, and I loved that car. That was just excellent, neat, great car. But the reason why I couldn't own one back then, because of the insurance. Being a young teenager, insurance would have cost me more per month than the car payments would have cost me. Being back then when insurance was the way it was. So, and then the other one that impressed me, that I thought was just a neat car when I bumped onto it when I was watching the Bewitched program, was that 68, 69 clone Camaro, that SS Camaro. That sucker was one gorgeous, beautiful car. I love that car. I just, they threw that program together and used that concept Camaro, just excellent. Then that's still my next one on the car side of it was the 64 Chevelle Malibu SS that also was a part of the Bewitched program, Darren's cars. I loved them. Those two cars. And growing up, I helped a gentleman when I was in the Air Force restore one of those completely from ground up restoration. We went through hell and back and built that car. That was one fantastically neat car. But last but not least, one of my favorite cars. I mean, I've had several cars because, like I said, back in my high school years, I could pick them up anywhere from $50 to $200 and put very little money back into them back then. As long as I could get gas and spark and they weren't leaking water, oil, I could make those things run. That's where kind of my mechanical talent came from. But that was on that 70s show also. The one that Hyde got when he was on the program, when Tommy Chong gave it to him, the character gave it to him as a present, basically, or he bought it from him. I don't remember the total thing, but I love that El Camino. I'm also an El Camino fanatic. My first El Camino, believe it or not, was a '59 El Camino, the old cattail light El Camino. I love them. So there's my shout outs to him for the vehicles that were in some of these programs. And then I got to say one that I don't care what anybody thinks about it. I just still thought it was a funky, neat vehicle. Here we go again, vehicle that was put out there. And I'm going to add one more to this besides that one. That's the Partridge Family bus. May sound funny, but growing up watching the Partridge every week, that particular bus that they had to travel in to go to their performances and stuff, I thought that was kind of cool. I lost my train of thought there, and I apologize for that, guys. But those are the type of vehicles out of my remembrance and watching programs that I wanted to shout out to him about that level. And then here's the last one. He said vehicles or whatever. Let's go back to one other program, and I know I'm adding extras. He only wanted 6, but I'm going to put one more out there and then let it go. And that's the green tractor, the Oliver tractor for Oliver Wendell Douglas, his green tractor on Green Acres. That was another that always kept breaking down on him, kept giving him problems, and kind of a haunted vehicle or implement that he used on the little farm that they had. So there you go, Sarge. I hope that covers. I know it's a little extra, but I just had to throw that out there. So thank you for letting me rant a little bit and enjoy what you were doing. So I'll get off here. Thank you.